welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay, and this is Life with Lindsay. Today, we have a WIP Chat. It's been a little while since I've posted a WIP Chat. I usually get them up once a week. I feel like there was a reason, and I can't remember it. Par for the course. A few boring housekeeping tips. If you hear noise directly to my left, I do have my fan running. I am recording this while my tiny human is sleeping. And my husband is in the room, so you will certainly hear husband noises. Say, hello, husband.
Hello, husband.
If you guys can hear him, let me know down below. Sometimes I feel like you can, and other times I feel like it sounds like I'm talking to myself, which, you know. Anyway. I am working on my Heaven and Earth designs. I will link the playlist up in the eye for you guys. If you are interested in watching me unbox this, the process I went through to get it, to order it, all that fun stuff, and then me setting up and kitting it up. I have all of that in that playlist. For anyone who is curious, this image is called Crabby Crush. It is by artist Hannah Lynn. I am doing a mini Heaven and Earth design on a blank canvas, so this will end up being 47 by 66 centimeters with a total of 90 colors. So, before I get super into, like, whipping and chatting, as my husband lovingly called it a moment ago, I'm just going to show you guys a little bit of my setup and how this works. I have expressed this before, and I will keep saying it. I am totally new at this. I am learning it as I go. I'm working on, I'm figuring out what works for me and what doesn't work for me. So keep that in mind, that I am not one of those people who's done a bunch of these. I'm not giving off expert advice. I can't give you guys expert advice on anything in this world. I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm not really great at a few. Anyway, so don't mind the mess and the clutter, but right here I've got a ton. I've got one of my drill containers, my storage containers. I have one directly to my right. I now actually have a 3-tiered rolling storage unit. I don't know what you want to call it. I actually built it live, IKEA Furniture Live on Instagram, because, you know, it's the kind of thing I'm apparently into. And then this is a pattern keeper on my tablet. So if you guys see me stopping and counting, or stopping, it's because I'm counting. And if you notice me trailing off at all, it's because I have this, the base is just right here, and I keep it on my desk. Now, sometimes I'll actually keep it on the edge of my canvas, because the weight of it helps keep this on my desk. So I grabbed a couple colors. As you can see, I don't have a whole lot left in this section. I don't know for sure, but I think when I'm done doing all of this, I should have about 20% of the canvas done. I'm at 17.8% right now. And if you're wondering how I know that, it's simply because it says it on the pattern keeper. I didn't calculate that myself. So, I guess that's all of the boring stuff that I have for you. If you guys have any questions at all about this, the process, how it works, how I like it, how I don't like it, you guys just let me know. Either leave it in the comments down below or shoot me a DM. I have all my information listed down in the description box. So, I'm going to start off with this color. If you guys hear a beeping noise, I do use a timer. So, for anyone who was in the live last night, I went live with Katie from Diamonds and Washi over on her channel, and it was a blast. I thank you to everyone who came, who showed their support. I had a great time. We know a lot of our international folks it was not a great time frame for them. Katie and I live in 2 separate time zones, and between the 2 of us, we've got 3 kids. So we kind of have to juggle with what works with, like, our mom schedules and go from there. So, I'm a little bit more flexible on other times of the day, because she's got a kid who's in school, well, virtually in school. So she can't really do a lot of like middle of the day stuff. And I can do stuff when my kid is napping or napping. Obviously, some days are far easier than others. So I kind of want to zoom this in because I feel like I am way off here. Let's see. 180 and 20. If you see me pointing to a like specific section for a while, that's so I don't lose my place. Anyway, I was talking a little bit about this in that live, and the replay is up on her channel, so if you guys have not checked it out, go check it out. I mean, when I tell you guys it was so much fun. It was so much fun, and I am blown away with how much love and support we had from that. It was a great time. Great time. I would love to go live on my channel. If that is something that interests you guys, please let me know down below. If you did not know, I do go live on Instagram quite often. I don't ever have any kind of set schedule. And I don't actually ever plan it out. So I've had people message me and go, hey, do you think you want to go live today? I really need somebody to listen to while I'm working. And I'm like, you asked and you shall receive. If it works with my schedule, I make it work. You know what I mean? So anyway, enough about that. But when I was in that live, I was talking a little bit about the beginning stages of this particular canvas. So I have been working on this. By the time this is recorded, it will have been a week. This is a week, I think. And I have definitely hit some walls, and I have struggled, and I just kind of wanted to share a little bit about that with you guys here. And then I guess we'll just talk about some more positive stuff. So, if you guys have been around long enough, you've heard me refer to myself as a free-range diamond painter. And what that really means is that I just don't work in these confined spaces. So I just kind of peel up the plastic or the opaque cover or whatever's on top of my canvas, and I just work in as wide of an area as I feel like. Sometimes that area is really wide, like snack size canvas wide, and other times it's not quite there. But for this project, because you can't rely on symbols on the canvas, it is definitely a little bit, more daunting. And I have to work in smaller sections. That being said, as you can see here, I'm not working on anything that's particularly tiny. I just, I'm learning as I'm going. So that first day, I didn't actually have Pattern Keeper. Long story short, I struggled because I didn't have a tablet, and I couldn't do things on my phone like record or stream YouTube or Netflix or anything like that, and use Pattern Keeper on my phone. Now, for those who don't know, Pattern Keeper is an app. It is Android only, so for those iPhone users, I do apologize. I'm not sure if there's something comparable, and if there is, I'm sure somebody will, let me know down in the notes. But I was using the paper pattern. Now, for me, I don't cross stitch. I have attempted a teeny tiny little one off of Amazon, but I have zero idea what I'm doing, and I have never claimed to be a cross stitcher or to know what I was doing. So that first day, let's see, I'm just gonna grab it here for you guys. For anyone who's looking, I know a lot of people just listen, which I guess I didn't even say what a WIP Chat is, but everything that's here in blue is something I worked on and I crossed it off. And then I used erasable highlighter here, but it wouldn't let me write over it. So it was very hard for me to keep track of what I was doing. My counts were totally off. I was very, very frustrated, to say the least. And unfortunately, I had some moments that were less than stellar. I threatened to punch a wall. I tossed my canvas across the room and I said, I'm done. This was a waste of time. This was a waste of money. And I had a massive temper tantrum, and I eventually gathered myself up and put my big girl pants back on and said, just do it. Just, you'll figure it out. Just do it. And I did. And I'm not going to sit here and go, oh my gosh, you guys, I was so wrong. This is the most enjoyable thing ever. Because I'm not at that point, and I don't know if I will be at that point. But what I can say are things are moving along much more pleasantly now. And I've also gotten to the point now where if I have it marked off that, like, there should be an open spot and there's a drill in it, you know what, hey. Now, I did put some drills in a spot the other day over and over and over again that I just had to keep taking off. I must have taken off 150 drills because I just counted wrong and everything was in the wrong place. And if you guys don't know what I mean when I'm saying, like, I'm counting them, I'm literally counting the squares and going, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, okay, it goes here. So you'll see again, this is what is working for me. I marked off all the grid lines on my canvas by the 10. So this goes to 180 across, and then I think it's 185 would be here. These last three are extra, and then the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on and so forth. So for me, which, let's mark off what I did and not get sidetracked, I will follow the lines in the pattern. And, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. You guys get to see me in action here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. What is wrong with this? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. I know this is super enjoyable for everybody watching right now, but this is what it's been like. And, oh my gosh. This is what happens. I think I'm in the right place, and then I do that. And in reality, they all needed to be over 1. There's been a lot of tweezer action this time around. I'm still trying to figure out why these over here are wrong. So, I'm just going to pause here so you guys don't listen to me counting over and over again, and I'll be right back. And I'm back. It was literally as easy as I just put an extra one there, even though I kept counting. You guys. Anyway, I don't even know what I was talking about other than just rambling about this. For those who cross-stitch, it's probably a lot easier for you guys because you're used to reading these patterns. And again, everything I'm talking about here is just total assumption because I have nothing to compare this to. And I was asked why I did this instead of the crown jewel. For me, there was nothing in the crown jewels that I loved that knocked my socks off. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Crown Jewel is from Heaven and Earth Designs. And it is their pre-printed canvases. They take their cross-stitch patterns and they convert it to a diamond painting for you. But you have to purchase the drills. And you can do that in black and white or color. You can do it in poured glue or double-sided adhesive. So you can really make it work for you and your preferences. But unfortunately, some of the artists that I really love that have Heaven and Earth Designs already have exclusivity contracts with other diamond painting companies. So they won't ever be offered as an option for the Crown Jewel. Which, if you hear me calling it Crown Royal at any point, I somehow interchange them all the time, and I keep throwing myself off, and then I go, that's not right, is it? No, the answer is, it is not right, Lindsay. But anyway, I have been enjoying watching this one actually come to life. But, man, let me tell you, you don't realize how much you rely on those patterns, like, printed on your canvas, until they are not there. So, if anyone else has done one, you know, feel free to share that down below. There's a lot of people who are interested in this process. And I think I offer an interesting perspective because this is my first time doing this, and I'm literally learning it as I'm going. I have great ideas in my head of, oh, this will work, this will work, this will work, and then it doesn't work, and I go, oh, okay, let's try this then. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, I've been enjoying watching this image unfold, and I picked a mini, which, if you have ever seen, there are people who post, like, on Instagram, and they have canvases that are 3, 4, 5 feet long, and I'm like, oh my god, first of all, where do you have space to work on that? But how do you have the patience for that? I don't, on either of those statements, and, so I got a mini, so mine is much, much smaller. Somebody in the live last night, and I don't remember who said it, so if it was you, shout out to you. I want to say it was Chris, but shout out to you. Thank you so much. You can contact Heaven and Earth Designs and ask them to convert any of their patterns into a mini. I don't know what that process looks like, but I think that's a really great idea if you find one that you love, but it's like a massive one, and you are just, you know, it's either not feasible because of the space that you work in, or your abilities, or your wallet. Because this is definitely more expensive than just buying a kit from even a premium company. Because you do have to buy the canvas and the drills, and I got mine through Cooper, and that was a really very helpful for me. They do everything. But I know if you were based in the UK, you have Smith's, that's a hard word to say if you have a lisp, Smith's Speeds. There's a couple places on AliExpress. Did I miss something here? 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Let's count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Sometimes you just throw yourself off. So I guess I should totally backtrack to when I was like, I didn't tell you guys what a WIP Chat is. If you guys have been here for any length of time, and I mean like literally a few minutes to now, weeks, months, however long you've been here, I am, and always will be, the conductor of the Hot Mess Express. I very rarely have a clue as to what's really going on, so that's pretty much par for the course. But a WIP Chat is where I work on my work in progress, which is a WIP, W-I-P, and you work on whatever it is you're working on. And basically, you guys just hang out while I chat. Now, it doesn't have to be crafting or diamond painting. You can have me on in the background while you're doing work or housework or, you know, for the hell of it. I've had people tell me, oh, I had you playing in my car radio. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. Also, you must have a great data plan because my phone, I accidentally watched like a video on like a couple reels on Instagram, and my phone's like, warning, data usage. I'm like, oh, crap. So, But I swapped that color out, and I am on to the next one. So, but anyway, I guess that's it for a lot of the technical, boring type stuff that oh my god, listen to me. This is one of those things that if I don't do a WIP and Chat every single week, bear with me, because some people find it hard enough to work and talk and record, and then some people have no issue with it at all. I normally don't have an issue sitting here and rambling, and to be honest with you guys, a lot of times I actually get a lot more done because I'm able to just zone out and talk. But doing this while looking at the pattern and constantly checking it off and counting is a little bit more complicated. I kind of expected it to be that way, so I'm going to do my best to keep up with offering a WIP and Chat every week if I can. This canvas is going to take me a little bit longer, a lot longer than anything else that I anticipated. So my husband and I figured out it's probably going to take about 45 days-ish to do this canvas because of, it tells you what percentage you've worked on. And we just broke it down number-wise, and he's a math guy, he's a numbers guy. That stuff is...
Nerd.
Well, I didn't say that, you said that. That stuff is fun and exciting to him. He's definitely a numbers guy. If you guys don't know, my husband does custom Funko Pops. And all of his info is always listed down below. But he was like, I'm going to go work on my P&L. And I was like, what? And he's like, this is the fun stuff for me. For those who don't know, a P&L is a profit and loss statement. So that's all numbers. Like, that's all it is. It's just numbers. And he was like a little kid in a candy store. He was so giddy sitting at the table. And he's, you know, part of it is that he's excited to be able to say, okay, well, this is the cost on my end per product. And this is the cost. This is how much I'm bringing in per product. And, look, I'm not going to use the fancy terms, Brian, because I don't know them off the top of my head. Maybe other people don't. You guys hear him correcting me on the proper terms in the background there? I'm just giving him crap. But, he loves that stuff. So, I just thought it was cute. And he is keeping very good track of these things because this year he will have to file taxes on what he's made. So, you know, that kind of stuff is important. But anyway, I am realizing it is very dark over here. I don't know if my light will adjust. Kind of, sort of. But anyways, how are you guys doing? And how are you really? I know, for me, I've had a lot... Oh my gosh, computer. I've had a lot of hard moments recently. And, you know, I swear, the majority of my daily struggles and bullshit is all related to... No, I was going to say to my kid's therapist. Oh. Not even to my kid. Like, my kid is exhausting. You know what I mean? Every kid is. But, man, you know, I've come to the conclusion, I think the reason my kiddo does so well in speech, for example, is because her speech therapist and I were talking about this today. If you are talking about literally anything, that is language-based. So she could be talking about what she had for breakfast, and that is her utilizing the skills and the knowledge that she's learning. But when she wants to show her occupational therapist the newest toy that she got, or tell her about breakfast, or, you know, just go on some random story because that's how toddlers function, they don't really want to hear it, and they look at it as, well, you're taking time. Yeah, you're wasting time. Especially because, oddly enough, the service we need the most, which is occupational therapy, is the one we get the least amount of time with. We get 30 minutes every other week. So 60 minutes total in a month. And I can tell you, 60 minutes is not a lot when you are trying to do a bunch of things. So for anyone who's been here and gone along the journey of us struggling with the school-provided occupational therapists and getting her replaced, like, I've just come to the conclusion that OT is just one of those services for us that I don't think is worth it doing it virtually. That is not to say that if you have a child in these services or that you yourself are in these services that they're not going to be beneficial. Excuse me. And I think that they are beneficial. I just think for us, doing it virtually is not the way to go. Unfortunately, we were told in not so many words that we will be the last wave of people that get in-person services when our school district fully resumes everything. Because my child does not go to preschool, and she does not go to daycare. And part of the reason she doesn't do daycare or preschool is because, well, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I should stop saying in the middle. We're in the midst of a pandemic. Who knows at this point how long it's going to be. And this is not an open debate. So if you're here and you're thinking, like, this isn't real, it's not that big of a deal, you know, you can keep those thoughts to yourself, kindly asking you to do that. I have a child who has a compromised airway, and I will do anything in my power to protect her. And it is what it is with that. So, with the school services, I also am not rushing to put my kid in preschool because that requires her to be potty trained, which she is not. And I'm going to state this here, and I've said this before, but I'm not asking for any kind of advice on the potty training or the OT or whatever it may be, but especially if you do not have children, just a word of advice. This is not just for me. This goes for anyone you know who has a child. Please do not offer unsolicited parenting advice. And if you don't have a child, there's never a right moment for you, unfortunately, to share your advice. Because I will tell you, I've said this before, you are the best parent in the world before you have kids. It doesn't matter how amazing you are as a parent or how amazing you are as an aunt or a cousin or a sister or a brother or a friend, whatever it is. It's not the same thing, and no two kids are alike. And I know that somebody's going to hear that and go, wow, that's really harsh. Let me tell you, I was that person that was like, oh, I'm really good with kids. Let me give you my advice. And now I realize, like, man, was I an asshole when I tried to do that. And it wasn't intentional. And it wasn't like I was doing it in a harmful or mean-spirited kind of way. I had the best of intentions. It just, if it's not your world, it's just not something you should be sharing. And I just got really off topic there. But so my kid, that's why I never signed her up to go to preschool or daycare over the last year. For us, personally, in our household, I would love my kid to go to preschool, but until things are a lot safer, that's not really going to be an option for us. And then when you factor in that most schools won't take a kid who's not potty trained at 3 into consideration, that takes away a lot of your options. But then on top of that, because my kid has an IEP, which is an individualized education plan, she is deemed a special needs child. And because of that, I was told there are certain programs that will take her. all of those programs are faith-based, which is not something I'm looking for. So we're just going to continue to do what we do and hope that things get better for us so that our kid can actually have face-to-face services. But the new OT is like, well, we can work on toilet training with her. And I'm like, you know what sounds like a ball of fun? Potty training virtually. You know, maybe I'm missing out on something here, but I just can't see that as being the thing to do. My kiddo was more interested in potty training a year ago than she is now, and I can't blame her. And just a gentle reminder, if you are one of those people who's out and about, whether it's because you've been vaccinated or you feel protected or your state has things opening up, if you see a child totally freaking out and you go, wow, this kid is acting like this in public and I can't believe it, just remember that kid probably hasn't been out of the house or really interacted with other people in a year. It doesn't matter who your kid is, what needs they have or don't have. I know when we take our girl to like Target or Walmart or something like that, I am fully prepared knowing that it will probably be a complete shit show. Because I think she's going to be so excited and then so overwhelmed all at the same time. And, you know, when you're little, like 2, 3 years old, your brain is so different from year to year. So to have a 3-year-old behaving like a 2-year-old, you know, most situations people would be like, wow, I can't believe that child's behaving that way. But when you have a 3-year-old acting like a 2-year-old because they haven't interacted with anyone since they were 2 years old, it makes a little bit more sense. So, as a parent to a child who does have meltdowns, true meltdowns, like not a epic temper tantrum, I just want to put that gentle reminder out there into the universe. So my mouth is really dry. I'm going to grab a sip of water real quick. But I hope that I hope I came across the way I am hoping I'm coming across, and not just like me sounding like a straight asshole about this stuff. And if you guys think that I am being one, like, feel free to let me know. But there's also nothing I can do to change that at this point. I mean, I guess I can for the next time I address this, you know, redirect it. But listen, nobody is given a manual on how to be a parent. And I just lost my spot. Bear with me here. Okay. Nobody is given a manual on how to be a parent. And I know people say that and people think, no, like, for real. You can read every parenting book that ever existed, and there will be no chapter on your child. There will be no chapter on what to do if you have a kid that's outside the box. There's no manual on how to deal with being a special needs parent or parent to a medically complex kiddo. I feel like something's off there, but we're just going to keep going. And there's also no manual on how to survive a pandemic. So cut your parent friends a little bit of slack. Cut yourself some slack. I had somebody saying to me that, like, we need to be out of just survival mode. And I'm like, we are, especially with a small child, we are always in survival mode, like pandemic or not. But man, some days it just feels like, am I going to survive my child? You know, she's one of those people that I think is going to move mountains and change the world, but in order to do that, I need to survive her toddlerhood first. And that's definitely easier said than done. And I have friends who have kids that are, you know, I don't want to say like these perfect kids, but I've got friends who have kids that they've never had to deal with anything medical. They've never had to have their kid in any kind of services. They've never had any kind of delays. And that's, I'm not saying that as like an envy thing or a, oh, you haven't gone through this, so you don't know what it's like to be in my shoes, because I don't know what it's like to be in the shoes of anybody, like even somebody who has the same diagnoses as my kid. It's hard. It's hard out there, and being trapped at home makes you question a lot of things on the daily basis. Am I doing the best I can? Am I doing good by my child? Am I screwing her up more than I'm helping her? Am I helping her enough? Am I doing enough? And totally did not expect this to be where my WIP Chat was going tonight. So for anyone who is like, can we talk about something that's not your kid?
No.
Sure, we can. But just let me, you know. Sorry, and my nose is now running because I've started crying. And I know those aren't the most appealing sounds, like especially if you're wearing earbuds. But my kiddo is one tough cookie, and you know, I'm just doing the best I can. And sometimes you have to remind yourself that the best you're doing is good enough, because there are days that you question if you're doing the right thing, if you're doing enough, if you're doing too much. And yeah, so I will be recording something in the near-ish future. I can't say how long it'll take, but my husband and I are redoing our crafting area. For those who don't know, my husband and I share the same space. 1, 2. Yeah, I've got a lot of shadows here. I am the League of Shadows. He made her say that the other day, and it was really funny. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, that's Bane. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry for sniffling all up in everybody's ear right now. So anyway, we had a couple plastic racks with shelving units and a metal wire rack with shelving units, and all of that has been taken down and replaced with wooden IKEA bookshelves. And the space behind me has been cleared out a lot. Excuse me. And I now have some storage back here, which is great because I moved into a space that already existed when I turned this into my crafting area. My husband actually turned this into my crafting area. And for me, I didn't have anywhere to store my canvases or my drills or just any of my own stuff. So I put a few things together back there, and I now have like my crystals and my plants are displayed back there. I actually moved my candle, which I love. Do you guys burn candles while you work? I'm such a candle person. And I never, like, I used to always scoff at, like, oh my god, I can't believe how expensive they are. And now I'm like, oh, there's buy one, get one, 25% off. Yeah, let's do it. Like,
now you're having your husband buy them for you.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that was a sale. That was a really good sale.
Yeah, I know.
But I know. They don't need to know that. No, actually, I got a sale email from, I think it was Bath and Body Works, and I had my debit card disappeared, and my husband, I was like, can you just buy a couple for me because the sale's really good? And he's like, yeah.
No.
So he did. But I'm finding there are a lot that say they're like really highly rated, but they don't smell like anything while you're burning them. And that defeats the purpose. So if you guys have any good candle recommendations, let me know. Anyway, so I'm excited, but I will be doing a like true room tour up here when we are completely done moving things around.
2023.
Yeah, I mean, it might be at this rate. But this multi-placer is definitely on its last leg. I really want to get... I have one of the everlasting tips. But I have a 3-placer and I don't love it. And I've heard people say that they love their bigger placers and they love their smaller placers. But then she put up a post that the shipping costs were going to change. And they're already expensive as it is. So now I'm like, I don't know. But I just keep warping these. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, Everlasting Tips is a woman named Nicole, and she's based in Australia, and she makes these stainless steel multi-placers and single placers, and she has some really cool stuff, but because she's shipping from Australia, it's international shipping, so 'tis expensive. Indeed. So... $170. You know what? Sometimes I feel like when you have just like 1 or 2 drills, it's harder to figure out which goes there. So I'm just going to work in this section here. I really hope that most of this is in frame. Normally I would be like rotating the crap out of my canvases to make them work for me, but because I'm following a pattern and I'm not just looking at something that's printed, I think that's going to be a little bit more complicated. I also had to start at the top of this canvas. I was talking to one of my friends, shout out to you, Raina, and I was telling her, you know, I'm a little bit confused on, we were just chatting back and forth, and I opted to start at the top because then I knew I'd be able to... I just lost where I was. Make sure where I was the right place. My fear was if I started at the bottom, because you can see there's a couple extra on the side here. My fear is that if I had started at the bottom and worked my way up to the top the way I normally do on a diamond painting, and I miscounted anywhere, that I would not have enough on the left side. So I opted to start at the top, which we all have our preferences. Let me know down below. Do you guys start at the top or at the bottom when you start on diamond painting? If you guys are hearing, my husband's shuffling across the room. So I'm really hoping that this project is one that you guys enjoy keeping tabs on. If you guys would like to see more like daily progress kind of things, I do post every single day on Instagram to my stories. Every day that I work, I should say. Like if I'm not working on my diamond painting, I'm obviously not posting about it. But this has been an interesting thing. I don't know what you want to call it. This has been my project that I set for myself for 2021. My goal, if you will. So, I'm really excited. Are you lost? Do you need something?
Well, remember there was the thing on the table that had a whole bunch of extra hardware in it? It was an empty pop
Yes.
container?
There's a shot glass that's inside the candle here.
Oh.
And this is what it's like in our craft space. IRL. My husband has these tiny little, like, I don't know if they're screws or nails. But either way, they came with the IKEA furniture, which, can we talk about IKEA furniture for a second here? Because back in the day, when you got anything from IKEA, any single tool that you needed was included in it. Now, that usually meant an Allen wrench. Good, bad, indifferent, but it came with it. Now it's like, oh, you need a screwdriver, and you need a hammer, and you need an Allen wrench. By the way, none of this is in your box. I'm like, ugh. So, my husband had a couple leftover nails, and I moved them into a shot glass into a candle.
Top off my grill.
You what?
Left the top off the glue. It is done so.
Oh no. Yikes. I'm sorry.
No.
If you guys can't hear, he said he left the top off his Gorilla Glue and it is done so. So. Anyway. And if you guys want more Data Monster content, let me know. We love filming for you guys. We would love to do another like Q&A kind of thing if you guys would be interested in it. If you guys don't know, he has his own playlist here. He's done unboxings. He's been a part of WIP Chats. We've done Q&As. We've done HelloFresh reviews. We did, I feel like there was something else we did. Anyway, I will, if I remember, leave the playlist up in the eye. But there is a Data Monster playlist and it will be up here somewhere. So.
We might be okay.
We might be okay, everybody.
I had a backup Gorilla Glue.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully it's still good.
He had a backup. Now we'll see if it's any good. So the day I am recording this, it is St. Patrick's Day. And I picked out the cutest outfit on the planet for my kiddo. And let me tell you, I'll insert a picture here if I remember. It is a t-shirt from a shop that I love called Naked Mangoes. And it is a gray t-shirt, and she screen prints everything at her house. And it has a rainbow that has skulls instead of clouds. I have the shirt in my size in a different color palette. But anyway, so I had that with a green tutu that I got from Walmart forever ago. Might have even been 2 years ago I got it. But I got it. And ooh. Okay, I think that was right. With rainbow suspenders and boots with rainbow shoelaces. And I said, okay, you ready to get dressed? And she just looked at me and she goes, no. I'm like, what? She goes, I don't want to get dressed. I want to stay in my dress. Her dress, by the way, is her nightgown. That was a dress that she destroyed and now just sleeps in because it's not a going out dress. It was never a going out dress, but it's definitely a nightgown now. So I was really bummed. My friend's like, well, why don't you just do a flat lay and post that? And I go, oh, you mean like this? For anyone who does not know, a flat lay is when you literally lay the clothes flat. It can be on, a white background or whatever you want to do. I usually use the concrete outside my house. That works for what I need. Sometimes I have to do the kitchen floor because, well, weather. But I do all of that and then I style it and I take a photo of it and I post it. Now, my daughter is a brand rep for a bunch of shops. So for her, I actually use those as her rep photos. So, all right, let's grab this guy. But, oh man, it was a cute outfit and I was so bummed. I was talking to my mom about it. She's like, does she wear suspenders? I'm like, it's been a while. I haven't tried it in quite some time. Kids are weird with suspenders. Sometimes they like them, sometimes they don't. I used to love suspenders, but I'm a child of the 80s. Suspenders and crimped hair and, you know, all those 80s things. That was me. Maybe I should find a photo. My sister's usually the one who has, like, all the old photos. I don't know if she just scanned them all in or just took a bunch of pictures with her camera or phone or whatever she did. But she always has great old photos. But my mom, like, I know they got rid of a lot of photos and they didn't want to digitize them, so they, like, just got rid of them. It's like, oh, okay. Those memories, they never existed. But my parents actually hopped into my live yesterday, or whenever it is that you guys saw this, with Katie, and I was like, how long were you there for? Because if you were there, the conversation got a little bit adult towards the end. And my husband's like, yeah, but you're an adult. You're not a child anymore. And I'm like, yes, but nobody wants to hear their children talking about things that, you know, someone else might consider inappropriate. Man. And if you guys have found me because of Katie, thank you guys so much. I'll tell you, it was so much fun over there, and I can't wait to do it again. I really had a blast. I can't wait until this canvas is further along so I can just shift it up my desk and not, like, my elbows. I'm having pain in my one arm because I'm using it to keep the canvas on the table. That's the level of where I'm at right now, so. But I'm definitely getting to a place where I feel more confident about what I'm doing. And I'm also at a place where I'm like, well, I definitely don't know where I screwed up, but we're just going to keep going. Whereas that first day, I could not figure out what I was doing wrong. But also because it was the beginning of my canvas, everything that I was doing wrong was screwing everything else up after that. Whereas here, I've already established a little bit of, you know, outlining and background and all that fun stuff. So, we're getting there. But it is very of the style of Hannah Lynn. I love the thick black lines. For those who don't know what the image looks like, I will do my best to insert it somewhere into this video. I mean, I guess, like, right here. But it is a mermaid. Not a mermaid. A girl in the ocean. And a crab, like, down in the corner, giving her a rose. I love the image. And I'm really happy with the way her hair is starting to turn out. I have thoughts on the canvas and the drills, but I'm going to save that until I've been working with it longer and can make a more cohesive statement about it, I guess. So, but as always, if you guys have any questions about this stuff, feel free to leave them down in the comments or to shoot me a DM and let me know. All right, where are we at? 3570. Are you on? Nope. There we go. I have 2 Elizabeth Ward containers full of drills. And you guys can see me kitting that up. But because of my limited desk space, I can't keep both of them. I mean, I can keep them both, but then I have to lift them up every time I need more. So right now I've got one set directly to my left, or to my right, and one set completely ahead of me. And, you know, it's not the best setup, but it works. And, I mean, I'm happy with it. I'm happy enough with it, I should say, you know? I'm always, like, fascinated when I see other people and they have their drill tray out on their desk and they have their laptop out and they have this out. And I'm like, I don't have room for any of that. And it's fine. How I work works for me. Just like how you work probably works for you. Now, do I wish that I had more space? Sure. Part of us redoing this craft room is to give me that opportunity to move my desk so that I do end up with more space. So we shall see. I'm really happy with how it looks so far with the bookcases. And he basically took everything that was already on the shelves and put them on the bookcases. But they're more organized and they are more compact and they definitely look super nice. And I'm really, really happy with how they came out. And because of that, he was able to take some of the stuff that was in the storage cubes behind me and move them to the bookshelves so that I can use the storage cubes behind me. So, as soon as I post that, you guys will all see it. So, I think I'm going to maybe just finish this color that I'm literally just starting. And then, perhaps I will hop off. And, yes. So, my husband is getting his first vaccine tomorrow. They turned an old retail space, like big box retail space, into one of those mass clinic sites. And I was so excited that they opened up. My husband and I both qualified for the first round. And I know wherever you are, your regulations might be different. So just because it works for us, don't assume that, you know, that plays any role into you guys as well. But we had a conversation, like, literally, like, 24 hours before. Yeah. And he was like, do you care who goes first? And I said, no, I don't really care. Of course, the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Look at me, not paying attention and putting them in the wrong spot. It makes more sense for my husband, because he's the one who leaves the house, to get his first. But I'm not one of those people that's freaking out, because I know I will get one. I may not get mine in March, but I will get one. And, sorry guys, my nose is running, and I'm trying not to sniffle too much into the microphone, because I know that's not super fun. Because he's the one who leaves the house. So, we got word that they opened up this mass clinic, and they had Thursday slots available and Friday slots available just for this week. So we got him signed up, and this was very much a we decision, that it was wise for us to not go back-to-back days in case one of us, you know, wasn't feeling great afterwards or whatever. And I'm hoping that they come around again in that same spot, because that would be great. It's easy to get to. It's not very far from where we live. And it's not one of those places that I have to be like, well, where am I supposed to go when I get there? Like, it's a huge former big box store. So I'm excited for him. I'm hoping with the rollouts here that this means there will be more normalcy in our near future instead of in our distant future. I would love more than anything for our kiddo to be able to do age-appropriate activities like sports and music and things like that. And it sucks as a parent when you know that once your kid hits a certain age, they can do certain activities, and then you go, well, is it worth me putting my child at risk so that they can socialize with other kids and play soccer or insert activity here. And we decided it wasn't. So she is now old enough to do some sports. So we're hoping to get her signed up. Anything to let this kid burn some energy. And I was just like that as a kid. My parents had me doing every sport under the sun. Every sport. Like, honestly, you name it, and I've probably done it. Everything from soccer to softball, lacrosse, rugby, field hockey, ice hockey. I was a competitive swimmer. I was a competitive diver. I was a competitive dancer. Horseback riding, water skiing, snow skiing, snowboard. I mean, everything. I was just like, let's do this. And as a kid, I loved it. Now looking back at it, I'm like, now I understand what my parents were doing. They were saying, go to sleep, kid. Which I have that conversation with my kiddo every single day. So on that note, I think this is a good place to stop. Thank you guys so much for being here. Before you leave, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like this or content that has nothing to do with this, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. 1 real life, 1 virtual. Wow, I'm really close to the camera. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Come, join the Sparkle Squad. And while you're there, hit that notification bell.
Yay!
I do not upload on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time. I record when my tiny human is sleeping or sleeping. So I do the best with what I've got. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. And I really appreciate you guys all being here. And being here on this crazy journey with me. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.